Every day for more than 40 years, James Michael Phillippi dressed in his blue and gray uniform and went to work. The majority of his law enforcement profession spent here in Area 42, covering the city of Martinsville and Henry and Patrick counties.
He's led the foundation for these troopers and what we expect them to do every day. And like I said, he was a loving and caring man. I mean, he would do anything for this community. He'd do anything for these troopers that's in here.
As supervisor for half his career, Phillippi preferred to be addressed by his nickname rather than by title, even by the troopers who served with him.
Most everybody called him Flip. I mean, from the time I was at the sheriff's office, the old troopers, they all called him Flip. And it was a long time, I think, before I ever knew his name was Mike.
Master Trooper Dickie Bird worked with Phillippi for more than 2 decades. Even with his promotion, being a trooper was in Phillippi's blood. He still liked to work the road.
We'd hear him on the radio, so he wouldn't call for assistance from another trooper. He'd do it himself, so we'd always go to him. And he'd be there, and most time he'd take care of himself.
Described as genuine, kind-hearted, and fair, he was held in high regard by the young troopers he consistently mentored.
Flip to me was like a father figure. He was, you could come to him anytime. I mean, I go to my dad first, but Flip would be the second one I would call for any kind of, advice on anything. I mean, he was just that type of a person.
Always being willing to answer your questions, even the minor questions, because sometimes as a new trooper, I remember you'd always have questions that might not be all that serious a situation to most guys that have been around a while, but at 2 in the morning, when something you hadn't seen comes up and you call and he answers the phone, it's almost calming, because you're having your you're unsure about what you need to do about a situation. You're unsettled by it, but you call him, he's been there and done that, and he takes time to explain to you what you need to do.
Troopers say he always answered the phone. He was always available. But his guidance meant he also expected the best from the troopers in everything they did.
He wore reading glasses when he was checking the paperwork. And as he got more agitated, the reading glasses would go up on his head. When he took the reading glasses off and laid them on the desk, then you knew you were in trouble.
His work ethic and dedication meant he also led by example. He spent countless hours planning and coordinating the traffic flow for the NASCAR races held twice a year at the Martinsville track.
Our job is to get them out of the racetrack and in the racetrack as efficiently and quickly as possible. We're limited to just a couple of 4-lane roads. A lot of it's 2 lanes, so that is a bigger challenge working the Martinsville race than, say, the Richmond racetrack.
And just as committed as he was to his job, Sergeant Phillippi was deeply committed to his community and family. A Sunday school teacher, he worked weekly with his church's youth group and had a special connection to his beloved goddaughter, Addie.
He every day, if she was in school, I guess he had some arrangement with her family, had to pick her up from school, So he was always sure to get off work in time to go take care of picking her up and making sure she got to the things that she would do after school. He'd always say he had to go get Miss Addie.
His time and generosity also extended to the young troopers he took under his wing, and many times that kindness went beyond the workplace.
What I won't forget is my wife's mother had gotten cancer, and it was getting towards the end of all that, and I was at FTO school, and he called me, and my wife had called me just a little bit prior and said that her mother had been took to the hospital. And he called me and he said, I need to come on home. And when I came back, he was at the hospital with my wife. And that meant a lot to me, that he was there for my family while I wasn't here.
He was just a very generous guy. I know from experience that troopers that had hardships in their life here, that Flip has offered to loan them money